Have you ever traveled through time? We do it every day.
Asgardia is a country with a population of more than 1 million people from more than 200 countries on Earth. Asgardia gives everyone equal opportunities, no matter what their earthly status is.
It is possible to create and live in the future right now. Are you ready? Forward progress is the solution to the entire human race. Our mission is to bridge new horizons. In Asgardia, there is no limit to the universal development in the fields of technology, finance, and arts. Asgardia is a new space and digital economy which creates opportunities for the global economy. We deliver innovations. Do you want to get on board with us? We are developing various kinds of digital businesses, attracting them to the Asgardia platform that can be backed by the means of our umbrella, i.e. franchising of the Asgardia brand. We can not only attract investments into space programs from prominent institutional investors, but also affordable amounts from the citizens of Asgardia. We comprise of more than 1 million people.
Asgardia is a chance to realize one's dream. This is a dream-driven space nation. Asgardia is a chance to belong to a community of free-thinking enthusiasts, goal-driven dreamers, and fearless innovators, theorists, and scientists.
We are the first space nation. One humanity, one unity.
Asgardia.
We are creating
the future.
Yes, centigrades. Centigrades.
Yes, centigrade.
That's in what's the measurement? You're not talking about in degrees, are you? You say 58 degrees too hot?
No, I'm telling that 31 degrees here, not with the Fahrenheit, but with the centigrade.
I'm talking in centigrades. Yes.
Yeah.
Not in Fahrenheit.
Not in Fahrenheit. Okay. I'm not used to the other measurement. But when you all say 50, when you all say 58, I'm like, what temperature?
We are not online, so I'm reminding that I may have a smoker, so I will be closing the screen time to time.
Welcome, Chairman Lambert.
Hello, nice to see you. Nice to see you all. Trying to get the lighting. That's better lighting. Hiya, Carol. Hi, everybody. Yeah, we'll start in 2 minutes. And that is great. Let's switch some things off in here. Right. 1 second. Right.
That's great, Carol Lockhart. You are here. You are not working today?
Who?
Do you work in?
Oh, Carol. That's fine.
No, that's wonderful.
Can't hear you, Carol. Can't hear you.
Who are you talking to? Oh, yeah, right. I see.
She's unmuted, but we can't hear her.
Hmm. Well, a minute till we start. Well, let's make a start. Yeah, Carol, you are muted. I can't unmute you here. One of the negative changes to the system is in the past, I could control your volume, but I can't anymore. So sorry. You're just excluded. Right, we are live now. Thanks, Rebecca. Welcome, everybody. I'm Len Bitopic, the chair of the Parliament of Asgardia, and that means that I operate these events and also organize the agenda for them. What this is an Asgardia Legislative Forum. That's what we call them, ALF. That's just what we call them. And the purpose is to help us develop our work in terms of the Asgardia organization. And Asgardia itself has got the mission to populate space with human life and other life too. We want to ensure the first baby is born in space by 2043. And there's the first permanent human space habitation as well, those two things. And in order to do that, we need to do quite a lot of serious work to get the ethics sorted out in terms of the responsible way to have the first child born in space. We cannot do that irresponsibly. And then the second aspect of this, of course, is that we would be very keen to have a permanent space habitation. The International Space Station is permanently populated, but not by the same people. They're all visitors. What we want to do is create a world where you don't visit space, you live there, you're born there, you work there, and you die there. That's what we're basically doing. Today's Asgardia Legislative Forum, which will probably be about 90 minutes, that's what I estimate, might be longer. The maximum we can do is 4 hours. Is to look at some of the aspects which are the most interesting for those of us who follow space matters. Specifically, we're going to look at the Asgardia Prime Directive, which is a global initiative now for us to create protocols for when we meet intelligent or other life. There's guesswork there, but we can be as prepared as possible for when that happens, and I think it will happen at some point, for reasons I'll explain when we go into the debate. Some say it's already happened, but we haven't really got protocols, so we're guessing all the way. We have some other work to do today. The most important technical thing is to elect the chair of the Citizenship Committee, and that is, we have a nomination for that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Then the Prime Directive. Then I want to also talk about any legislation you think we need. I don't want to have legislation for the sake of having legislation. I want us to have legislation because we need the legislation. So there's an opportunity to talk about that. Then I want to have a brief discussion about the Asgardia Executive Congress. All the committees are really involved in that, as all the chairs of all the committees, I think, will be present and will need to present. Then we'll close. That's what we're doing today. As I say, the maximum duration will be 4 hours. I think it'll be half that, something like that. If it does look like it's going to be long, we'll have a short break in the middle. Otherwise, we'll just go from beginning to end. So that's what we're doing today. I'm hoping that some other colleagues will join us as well. We'll see. Anybody from Parliament or administration or government is welcome to be with us and to speak, because it's not a formal session. And I'm just thinking if there's anything else. No, that's basically it. So what I'd like to do, well, first of all, if there are any questions, just let me know now. Otherwise, we're going to start with the proceedings, which will be, first of all, to elect a chair of the Citizenship Committee. Okay, great. Okay, great. Now, let's get into the first piece of important work. Bridget has been an absolutely superb chair. She's done so much, even during COVID. She actually took some personal risks. And in that process, she also got people to follow Asgardia. Very important, very, very important, very helpful. And she's got very busy with her work. That's the issue. And as a result, she feels that she can't really carry on with the work that she's doing. I completely understand that. It's basically just the way life goes, and she's not leaving Asgardia. She's just busy now, and I'm sure she'll take a big role again in the future. It's just she's not able to do it now. What this means is we have a vacancy, and the vacancy is in the position of the Citizenship Committee. And I've said I opened nominations a while ago for that, and I invited colleagues to apply if they wanted. And we do have a nomination, and that's Teresa Jones, who predictably and logically is the deputy chair at the moment of the Citizenship Committee. So she has submitted her request to be considered for that position. The only people who can vote for this are people who are members of the Citizenship Committee. But in a moment, I'm going to invite Teresa Jones to explain why she's hoping to be the chair. And then to make it simple, if anyone objects to this, then we'll hold a vote. If no one on the committee objects, then she is considered unanimously elected to that position. Teresa, I saw in Dallas last year. I was very impressed with the work that she did, and she's done some superb statistical work as well. So I'm very pleased she's put her name forward. But let me, rather than talking on her behalf, let me hand over to Teresa as the candidate to step up from being deputy chair to chair of the Citizenship Committee to share with us what she sees is the role. So Teresa, welcome. Good to see you. Let me hand over to you.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I'm using the headset for the first time, so I didn't know if it was going to work or not.
It's not bad. It's quite good. It's a bit quieter than the others, but we'll get the hang of it. It's fine. You're perfectly here. You're perfectly audible, 100%.
Okay, I'll just yell.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Basically, after many discussions with several parliamentary colleagues, they convinced me to put my name forward to chair the committee. I'm hopefully just looking for your vote. Speeches. I'm looking forward to working with all the committee members and all my other parliamentarians that are not on the committee, but who would like to participate to bring more people into our nation. I have several great ideas that I would like to discuss with people, and I think we together can help foster a more engaged community, which really is what we need right now. Thank you for your consideration.
Excellent. Very concise. I'll just add that when I was in Dallas, Teresa just got on with it. She did so much work, and I was truly really impressed with what you did. I'm certainly, if I was on the committee, I would vote for you, simply. I'm just wondering if anybody's got any questions, and anybody can ask a question.
Yes.
You don't have to be on the committee to ask a question. So,
Yes,
does anybody
please
have
ask questions.
anybody have any questions? I think John's thinking about saying something. He's got the look of an inquisitor. There he is. Yes, he's raised his hand. I could see that was coming. Yeah, John, fine.
Yes, I was wondering if Teresa could give us an update on the statistics that she keeps track of. Are we doing better? Or are we doing worse? Or are we just status quo? Or are we staying where we're at?
Well, as far as Asgardians registrations go, we're actually doing very great. There's a lot of signups. I want to say it's about 50 people a week are actually signing up. Residence numbers are not doing so great. But I can send out the information if you want to through the Slack. That's okay?
On request, I think so. I don't think it's secret. If John is interested in it, you could send it to John. I wouldn't just publish them really because there's no real need to. But John obviously as a very active member and a chair. I have no problem with that. Also, I think he's got some ideas on how to build the membership of the residency of Asgardia too. So if you want to send them to John, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Ariadne.
Thank you very much. Well, I want to see again Ivan Rossell working together with the share from citizenship. If the proposals don't appear, the ministers don't act. And that is the question, because they and in the field to the mayors needs to spread all the things that the proposals goes from Teresa Jones and the committee from citizenship. And that's wonderful. I feel so happy. I saw many shares from United States in this parliament, but well, it's good for all of us. That's wonderful. The most important is Teresa Jones is very accurate, very professional, very serious, and competent. I saw that, and that's wonderful. Congratulations to you, Teresa.
Thank you, Ariadne. Actually, I do have one project that I am going to need Ivan's input on directly, so I will be in contact with him.
That's very helpful. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Well, in which case, in order to keep things simple, I'll ask if anybody present from the committee. We have one candidate, it's Teresa Jones, which is fine. It doesn't need to be a contest. And to be honest with you, it's quite logical that the deputy chair becomes the chair. It makes sense. It's a kind of recognized business model. But I'll just ask if anybody objects to Teresa being elected. It's just easier than checking who's on the committee and getting everybody to personally vote. If nobody does object, then we will say that Teresa was elected with a unanimous vote of the committee. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds while I say something else, just in case anybody wants to say something. I'm hoping, in this 30 seconds, I will say, I'm hoping that this will mean that we have a really brilliant, energetic citizenship committee carrying on from the time when Bridget was a bit less busy and had a lot of time to do this. And that would be really spectacularly good. I'd hoped to go to America in May, but I just didn't have the time in the end. But now there's a big incentive. And in terms of Ariadne's point, we're not increasing the number of Americans. Well, it's one in, one out. Bridget's in America, and now Teresa's in America. We don't have ethnic quotas. We don't have positive discrimination. But in terms of the numbers, we've got a very good spread from all over the world. John.
Yes, I was wondering, going to ask Teresa if she wins, which I'm certain she will. Are you going to be joining us in Dubai?
Hopefully, if I can scrape enough money together.
Well, I really hope you will be in Dubai, because now that Ricky's said he's coming too, that means 12 out of 12, which, given that the international situation seems to have calmed down a bit, would be spectacular. The first time we had all 12 chairs, it was in 2019, I think. But since then we haven't. We've had some online. But if we can physically all be there, that's great. But let's get the election out of the way first. That's more than 30 seconds. No one's objected. So congratulations, Teresa. You are now the chair of the Citizenship Committee, and you have to come to Dubai. Once again, we thank Bridget for her service, as they say, and she'll be back once she's got a bit more time. In the meantime, I don't know, Teresa will now be able to appoint a deputy chair, and I'm always on hand to try and help as well as best I can. Coming up to the ALF, I've already apologised to Sarah Clark, who I keep missing because I just got so busy putting everything together for the ALF. It doesn't look complicated, but it is quite complicated because a lot of conversations take place and so forth. But as far as I'm concerned, this is great. Do you want to say something? Well, do say something. Say something nice, Teresa.
Something.
Okay.
Just thank you for having confidence in me, and I hope I can live up to your expectations.
Well, thank you very much. That in itself makes today worthwhile. We do politics very politely in Asgardia. I like that. I watch proceedings in the United Kingdom, and I'm thinking we might be a good role model for others to follow. It's up to them. So well done. And that means also that Teresa will be attending on Thursdays the 1700 UTC Chairs Committee, and offline after this we'll talk about Dubai as well. And we'll talk about that under the Asgardia, under the agenda at the end there as well. So, sorry, it's on the agenda as well. Great, that's really good. We have 12 committee chairs once again, and that's fantastic. And we've got 12 chairs, 12 ministers as well. So for the first time, possibly in the history of Asgardia, all 24 government and parliamentary positions are filled. That's quite exciting. Maybe it's happened briefly once before, but this is certainly the first time in 7 years that that's happened, so that's quite exciting. I shall report to the head of nation that we have this result, and Teresa, you'll be presenting to Dr. Asha Bailey in Dubai, as will others. I see Ferda nodding, and she sent congratulations in the chat as well. It's a good day. It's very good news. Let me look at the agenda then. So that really is important to me. Now to the main business, which might take half an hour, might take 90 minutes. It depends how much we discuss it. It does tend to generate debate because it's so interesting. This is about the Asgardia Prime Directive. Now, the history of this is that we started. I didn't start this. It was an initiative by Ferda and others, asking the question, what happens when we meet people from, well, beings from off Earth, from somewhere else, whether they're microbial or as clever as us or hopefully smarter than us, what do we do? And we realized that, well, science fiction has managed this question quite a lot. Everything from the Alien series through to Contact, a magnificent film based on a book by Carl Sagan. There isn't any formal process agreed internationally on what we do. Some people think it's a bit crazy. Other people think it's inevitable that we will meet other civilizations, for example, and still others think it's already happened. There's a school of thought which says that we are actually descended from life that arrived from space. And Fred Hoyle had that view, and others have said so too. A very interesting man who I have the honour of knowing, Professor Wickraminga Singh, I'll check if I've said that correctly. He believes in the concept of transspermia. What he believes is, and it's very prosaic, it's very nice the way he says it. I'll find his name. I know him, but I always seem to get his name slightly wrong. Yeah, Chandra Wickramasinghe, I got it right. He was based in Cardiff, in Wales. He believes that the odds of life beginning are really small. And he described it to me like this. He said, it's so unlikely that life will begin that it maybe takes the entire power of the entire universe and all of its history and all of its time to make it happen just once. And then it's spread across the universe. Now, if that's right, it's quite likely that we'll share DNA. And we could have huge similarities with other space beings if that's correct. But we don't know. So what Ferdo, I'm going to hand over to Ferdo in just a moment to talk about this. What Ferdo has been promoting is some kind of a framework for this, which quickly it became obvious would be best to be turned into a protocol. Rather than law, it's an approach that we will take, because it's hard to legislate for something we don't know, but we can prepare our processes in the same way that when you drive a car, you learn how to drive it. There are some laws about driving, but the act of driving is a skill. And I think that we need to become skilled and mature in how we interact with other species and be aware of all the options. This piece of work has been done really well, really, really well. And I believe that this could put Asgardia in a position to lead the world on the question of what happens when we make first contact. So that's what we want to discuss today. There won't be a vote today, but at the end, the next steps will be specific. I'll say now, consider one of the next steps will be to present this concept to Dr. Asher Bailey in October. So I'd like us to be in a position where we produce something more thoughtful than anything that's ever been prepared and shared before by any nation. I think we probably already have it, but we can go even further. So let me hand you over to Ferda. She may want to even disagree with some of the things I've said. And Ferda, you have some commentary, and then let's have an open discussion on this. So, Ferda, over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy with John Fine's work. He is working a lot with the second part of the preparation of the legislation of the Galactic Prime Directive, and he is doing a very good job with preparing the business plan and working plan. But of course, Foreign Affairs Committee will have other projects, and this Prime Directive has special area that we will be focusing on the science area and the foreign affairs area, and define our missing science subjects, and for extraterrestrials what we need to improve. And there will be workshops and other things. So we need a structure, not only for the registration, but also for the workshops and the possible companies or anything we like to improve ourselves for preparation of encountering with the extraterrestrials. So this project is very important for the global world and for governments and for science. So I'm very happy about the process we are doing, and the way we are going from here, and we are continuing. So I don't need anything else to say.
Thanks very much indeed. Yes, John has been heavily involved as well, and this is something we can all do because it's newsworthy. I think it's very interesting for people to hear that an organization such as Asgardia, the world's first space nation, is actually asking a question that's never been fully answered. It's been explored, as I say, in fiction. Arthur C. Clarke had ideas on this, and H.G. Wells, the science fiction author, he made some very intelligent suggestions about this too. But no nation state has ever formally shared its plans. Maybe informally, maybe it's secretly, they have plans, but I haven't seen them. John, do you want to add anything to this? Yeah, I thought you would, John.
Yes, well, I agree with you. This is very, 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 very important. And like you said in your comments, that Some people are going to take it serious. Some people are going to think it's a joke. And but the thing is we've got to find out who's who. And of course, and so the action plan that I came up with for foreign affairs was um, basically a recruitment strategy to figure out who's who are the people that are going to be interested, and who are the people who are going to think we're a joke. And the only way you can do that is to recruit. And while we're recruiting, we can also recruit citizens or residents into Asgardia. So there's an opportunity for that while we're doing this recruiting. So the strategy basically is just a simple recruitment strategy to recruit people who are involved in space in a specific way to work on the working group. And for for foreign affairs, I wanted to create an advisory group or an advisory board, and this board would be specifically for that recruitment of those people. And I still got plenty of space on the advisory board. Anybody that wants to volunteer, we've had I think I got 9 volunteers right now currently, people that have volunteered. And the reason I say volunteer, because I don't want anybody on the advisory board that doesn't want to be there. I want people that are actually interested in doing the work, because it is going to be work. It's not going to be um, it's not going to be something waiting for somebody to do something. We're actually going to be the people doing something. So, and it all works within the framework of the Constitution and the laws that we've already passed. So I checked that to make sure everything was legal, and everything is perfectly legal. And so nobody can tell us we can't do it. So, but because it all works within the framework of the Constitution and the laws that we currently have. And I adapted it to those laws, of course, just to make sure that we were doing it legally and within Asgardia. But no, and I think it's great. You know, the first time that Ferda mentioned Prime Directive, I got excited. You know, and I've been excited ever since. And you know, my excitement, of course, comes from that science fiction side that Lambert talked about, and because I'm a big Star Trek fan. But I do like the way Star Trek addresses this issue and how they address it. I think that that's superb over all the other science fiction novels and movies and series that I've seen. I do believe Star Trek has the better framework of how to address, because their approach is to be their approach actually kind of corresponds with the United Nations. And I kind of like the United Nations too. What the United Nations stand for, not necessarily some of the stuff that goes on behind closed doors, but the stuff that is presented to the world, what they actually stand for. But yeah, so, and this is, you know, I'm going to continue to be excited about this initiative, because it could really turn into something beautiful. I think we've got the right people to do the job. And so I'm looking forward to working with Ferda. I'm looking forward to working with the people who have that have volunteered to be part of the advisory board, I'm looking forward to us coming up with something wonderful that does become newsworthy. So thank you. Bye.
Thank you, John. I think this is newsworthy. I think it's very exciting. And I think that As Ferda has said before, basically, we have the opportunity to do something which is international relations off Earth. It's very exciting, and I hope that with at last a foreign minister, we can do something useful. I'm hoping, by the way, that Nigel might be able to join us today. He has joined us, in fact. Yes, he's here. Nigel is here. So I'll invite him to say something in a minute as well. Ferda, you're next.
Thank you. The aim is sharing our details, and it is important for us to share our work with people and let them change it for the future with us. Our, of course, structure will manage the things to need to be fixed or corrected, but it is important for us to build the structure for the foreign relations, for the science committee and other committees to interact with the governments, to build the structure and the work area for the new technology to recognize the extraterrestrials and for being ready for the space. We need to ready for greeting the space with from every aim of sight. We have only a narrow sight right now. We need to widen it. So our foreign affairs minister has a big job to do to prepare Asgardia with the governments and the communication. And we need help from him because of his expertise. And it will be important for us, for the Galactic Prime Directive, to improve with the communications around the world. Thank you.
Thank you. I am delighted to tell you that I see that our foreign minister is with us today. I know he cannot stay long, maybe only 15 or 20 minutes, because he's working on something else today. But I think that it's great that we have our foreign minister with us, and no doubt we'll share some things, unlikely to solve the problem right now, but we'll or the challenge, but we'll share some thoughts about what foreign affairs means when we meet extraterrestrials, whether they're microbes or really smart people like Asgardians. And Nigel, good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. You've just heard Ferda, the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee there, who's very excited that you've been appointed, and who you will meet in October at the Asgardia Asgardia Executive Congress. So over to you, Nigel, and let's use it this time usefully, because I know Nigel will have to go when we at the latest when we get to 2 o'clock, which is in 22 minutes. So let's be very efficient with the time. So
yeah, well, I'm just happy, Lembit, to come in on this and to listen to what's being said. I mean, I've just had a look at the participants who are already on this call, and it's worldwide. And I just think that even the subject matter that you're looking at is something that most people really don't address, even though if you're half smart, you've got to think about it. You know, are we alone? Is that some people say, do you think there's possibly a chance that there is life form on another planet out there? And I quite reverse it and say, do you think there's not even the slightest chance that there won't be somebody out there? It's almost impossible that there's not, and not multiply in different parts of the galaxies and the universe and all that. I mean, there's not a chance that there is not. And at some stage in the future, I know I hear what you say as well, Emmy, to see whether they are as smart as Asgardians or they're just microbes which can't really probably communicate. I get the sense that they're that intelligent that they don't want to come anywhere near Earth. They can look down, they can see what we're up to, and they think they don't want to have any part of it, just in case we pollute what's going on in their lives. So I think it is absolutely fascinating, and how you would communicate to them, and what I mean, we'd have to start by saying sorry for the state we're in. That we have allowed our own world to be ruined in the way that we have, that we have not sufficiently advanced over the years. I mean, I think we incredibly are doing some amazing things now, and I think it is only going to be compounded in the future in an accelerated way. And I think that is fantastic. I mean, when I've finished on the call later today, I think I will ask ChatGPT, other models of AI are available. What should I say to somebody who is extraterrestrial coming to the Earth for the first time? Clearly it depends on which part of the Earth they end up in, or whether they are smart enough that they want to have a presence in multiple countries at exactly the same time. I mean, it is fascinating. And is it the fact, and we're getting there ourselves in our own way, that if you think that somebody could be saying something and my phone can translate it in front of me so that I don't have to be able to speak that language, is an advancement that I never thought we would get. I'm learning French like crazy at the moment to make sure that my grey matter is keeping pace with myself. Since I finished in Parliament, and I started to speak to ChatGPT in French, immediately got the response back in French. So I think the ability to see what artificial intelligence is able to do at the moment is quite staggering. And so I think asking that question, what should I say to somebody from another planet when they start to visit the Earth, is going to be something that I think is incredibly exciting, but it is something that we should start to address. I know we've put capsules up on the moon with all sorts of things, including recordings, and we've even in transmissions, which are ending up goodness knows where, sending messages of peace to other planets, should they be able to receive them in 1,000 million years, or however long it takes for that message to reach other planets. But I'm just interested in it. I also take on board what John said earlier on, that he only wants people who actually are serious about this, because I think when you say to somebody, oh, well, I was having a conversation today about conversations we should have with extraterrestrials when they visit the Earth, they'll probably start looking at me in a different way. But I do absolutely believe that it is something that we should be looking at. I mean, if you look at COVID, this is something that we should have had the ability to cope with in a way better way than we did worldwide, and we didn't, because we didn't plan. We didn't plan properly. We didn't plan in a concerted way. And that's what we should be doing now. And if nobody else is doing it, at least we are doing it. And so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in October in Dubai, when hopefully we can put some flesh on the bones, which you're going to be doing anyway for the rest of the day, on subject matters just like this. I think it's absolutely superb.
Thank you very much. Ferda, do you want to say something? This is really the first time we've...
I just written it to the chat. We are doing this mostly for pushing the science and technology to be interested in space more than daily luxury. Yeah, and we need to improve our technology to recognize everything around us, but not only the daily things that will be making us lazy. We have lots of work to do, and we need a structure for it. So we are step by step doing this structure for ourselves to improve our conditions for the future. Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Thank you. Other comments? We have our foreign minister with us now briefly. I'll add my question at the end. Anybody else like to make a comment or observation? I find this really interesting, though. The idea that we're going to have international relations, well, interplanetary relations, really. I don't know what the phrase would be. Extraterrestrial relations. As I said earlier on, if Professor Wickramasinghe is correct, and there was one original start of life, and then everything came from that and got spread around across billions of years, they could be much more similar than we think.
Yeah.
Maybe they watch television. Maybe there's a prime minister on another planet who looks like Keir Starmer. Maybe not. So,
but Lembit, on a more serious note, there could be on another planet people having conversations just like we're having now.
Yeah.
that they haven't. I think that you're right. They could be similar to us, or they could be completely different in the way that they advance. I've given that some thought too. As far as whether they drive using fossil fuels, or whether they have got autonomous vehicles, or whether they can teleport themselves. All that sort of stuff is absolutely fantastic, because if they, for whatever reason, are way more advanced, could you imagine the things that they would be able to do that we are not yet capable of doing on Earth, because we've advanced at a different way and perhaps taken different routes. And if we weren't constantly at war with one another, then could you imagine where we'd be now?
Yeah, I agree with you. My assumption, I'll come to John in a second. My assumption is that any conscious species that we meet has passed through that dangerous phase of fighting itself and has got to peace, because to make interstellar journeys requires really high tech. And I think if a civilization gets that far, it's survived long enough to see the bigger picture. That's my feeling. And so I don't think it would be a war of the worlds. I don't think they would come here and consider us just to be fast food. I just don't think that. I think if you make the effort of reaching out for other life, you understand the importance of life. That's what I think. That's my opinion. And for that reason, I suppose I come to the same view as I'm now beginning to come to on Earth, which is having a military in space is pointless, because the odds are we will be so different at our relative level of technological achievement that either we can destroy them or they can destroy us, and it won't be a fair fight. So the only thing that we can have is the hand of friendship. That's the only thing that can make sense, I think. But that maybe, as in War of the Worlds, the idea that essentially the common cold could kill the Martians, maybe that's the way it is. I mean, it could be, I suppose, but I do think that the universe is basically a peaceful place. It has tremendous violence in it. Supernovas and the collisions of black holes are the most phenomenally violent events. But anywhere where life is, it will have had to be stable for a long time. Let's go to John.
Well, I just wanted to go off what Nigel was saying.
Go on, yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, and that is, I grew up in an era where everything that, like what we're doing right here, talking to one another over the globe, on this channel, all of this was impossible at the time. Cell phones were impossible. There was all kinds of stuff back then. We had a party line where you picked. There was a bunch of people on the same line, and it rang everybody's house, and they all picked up, and they said, "Okay, who are you calling?" And they'd say who they're calling, and then everybody else would either hang up or they would eavesdrop on the conversation to see what was being said. But there and that's the way phones were back then, and we definitely didn't have well, even rockets were science fiction when I was born. So there were some rocket technology that was developed as weapons, but none to take you to space. And but so as a child, for me, I learned that the human race, that our possibilities are endless. Okay. A child being born today, all this stuff is just there. And to them, it's like a toaster was to me back then, and it's just what we have. It's just what we use. But fortunately, there's another group of people who are taking this technology that we have today and going back into that science fiction endless realm of possibilities and continuing on that process. And that's why I don't think anything is impossible. Nothing. I don't think anything's impossible because I've seen too much throughout my life to say that something's impossible. If a human can dream it, then it's possible. That's just the way I see it. And so that's why I think this initiative is good. I think that what we're doing is, at least like Nigel said, at least we're planning. That way we don't have that shock and awe, you know. And I agreed with him. If we had planned for a scenario like COVID, we would not have had the shock and awe that happened due to COVID. And we didn't plan properly. I worked as a volunteer firefighter, and that's all we did. We planned. Even though we may never go into a fire, we planned. But you know what? When we went to a fire, we put that fire out fast and mitigated all the risks because we had done all this planning beforehand. So, and that's the way NASA does. NASA, on their astronauts, most of their time is spent planning, right? Before they launch something into space, they spend years planning. And that's why when they go up into space, it goes pretty well, you know? And it's not because it's because those astronauts spent all that years planning beforehand. So I'm happy that Nigel supports our efforts. So thank you, Nigel.
Would anyone else like to? We've got Nigel for a maximum of another 9 minutes. Would anyone else like to make any contribution to Nigel? I'm going to ask my question then. It's really Ferdinand, Nigel. It's one of communication. I can't answer it now, but I want to raise it now because it's an interesting question. How do we even know when we're in touch? It could be, I wrote something about this many years ago. It could be that these civilizations are so advanced that they don't really travel in spaceships, that they actually travel through using some psychic or extrasensory power that many people believe, including me, exists. If that's the case, we might be thinking about it in completely the wrong way. So instead of them getting into a flying saucer and traveling 50,000 light years to shake hands, it could be that they observe us by looking in at us rather than disturbing it. In the same way, that sometimes human beings are quite good at leaving wild territories untouched so that the animals are not aware that we're watching them. We don't do that very often, but sometimes we do. So I'm just wondering if there's a prospect that we're looking at it in the wrong way, or we have to be aware that the universe has secrets that we haven't really established, and perhaps coming of age as a species, as a civilization, gets us to that point. Let me go to Ferda, and then anybody else, and then last word to Nigel before he leaves. Oh, Sarah, sorry. Ferda, then Sarah.
My question is short. Does Nigel's email is open, official one, or can I contact him from somewhere else? That's all. Thank you.
Well, let me answer that one straight away. Yeah, you can contact me easily by two ways. One is another email, which is Nigel, M for mother, P for Peter, at yahoo.com. So it's nigelmp at yahoo.com. And the other one, if you've got a pen, is +44 7894.
Watch out, you're selling this to the whole world. This has been broadcast across the world.
I'm not bothered because I earn £1.90 a minute when people call me.
Okay.
No, that is a joke.
Please,
That's what I should be. That's what I should be doing.
Available. Just write it to the chat. Please.
Exactly.
So do not announce it.
So just WhatsApp me +44 789. Absolutely.
It's very kind of you. 8 billion people will now get in touch with you. And also, any extraterrestrials who may be passing and get this broadcast could also contact you. Luckily, you've got the country code there, so they can get through. I'll put Nigel's number on in the chat.
Great.
Yeah, I'll do that as well. Thanks for that. I'm really looking forward to you, Nigel, and you, Ferda, getting moving, because I know Ferda's excited. She's been on the bridge of the ship alone for a long time, and now with the two of you, I know you'll get on really well, and you're both people who get things done. So that's going to be just terrific. Really great, really exciting. So Sarah next. Yeah. I'm watching the clock.
First of all, Nigel, thank you so much for being here. I do think this is a really important conversation. The question that has been bouncing around my mind truly is, when there is contact, how amongst all of the voices in the world, because I mean, if you look at the nations of the world, there's some really big personalities. How do we make ourselves heard?
You know, I remember once, and I think it was at the time when there was a lot of flux in British politics, and there was a change of prime minister fairly regularly in the United Kingdom, if you remember. And somebody made the joke that if somebody came from another planet and said, "Take me to your leader," British people would be scratching their heads as to which one that they would take them to. You're quite right. Who would they want to talk to? I mean, if they're of a super intelligence, then I'm not too sure they'd want to talk to any of us. But the reality is, and it's a bit like what you were saying, Linda, is that they may be trying to communicate now, because we're making such a noise ourselves, we can't hear them. And it's because we're not tuning in. If you remember the old radios that you had, and you could turn the dial yourself physically, you would all of a sudden start to hear something, and then you could just turn it a little bit more and it would become stronger. And then if you turn it a bit more, it'd become weaker. And it may well be that with the spectrum that is out there, that they are trying to communicate with us already. And yet we haven't the ability, because of maybe the lack of progress that we're making, to be able to know that there is somebody making a noise out there. I know we've got all these telescopes now that are pointing and listening all the time to see if that there is any noise out there. And then the other thing is then how will they communicate? What language would they be using for us to then be able? I think you're absolutely right, Lambert. You know, if a little green man came down now, I mean, the first thing I'm going to do is smile. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look angry, and I'm not going to go and look as if I'm reaching for a gun. Not that that we can in this country, but you get my gist. You're gonna. I said to somebody last night, actually giving some advice. I said, always smile. If you're worried about something, smile, and it reassures everybody else that at least somebody thinks they know what's going on. And so get. And I think this is where we're coming to the thrust of what we're talking about here is. Planning, as John said, is vitally important. If you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail, and it's as simple as that. So you've got to make sure that you're planning all the time, and then work out exactly what stages that you're doing. And I love the analogy that John used with the fire brigade. My goodness me, aren't we seeing them being used in Texas at this moment in time with the floods that they're suffering there? 24 deaths already, but they are going in there. The emergency services are there because they've planned something like this. Unfortunately, there is always going to be fatalities and injuries, but nonetheless, think how many more there could be if the emergency services weren't on hand, that they hadn't been planning for stuff that they don't do the vast majority of time. They plan to fight fires, they plan to rescue people, they plan to deal with floods. But they don't expect to do it on a daily basis because that's not how it works. And so it's the same with us. We don't expect and haven't, as far as we know, to this date, have been communicating with somebody from another planet. We've just not done it, as far as we know. And therefore, us planning what we're going to do, how we're going to communicate with them. I mean, I love your question as well, Lembit, as to who who they would want to go and talk to. I mean, everybody in I suppose the Western world think they'll immediately go to Donald Trump, and who knows, right? Who knows? The biggest power that there is on the earth at this moment in time. But it's just like you asked the question in your own heads. Who will be the first country to stand on Mars? Is the person that is doing it in a classroom at this moment in time? Mm-hmm. And if you think about the country that they are living in, which one is it likely to be? And I keep coming up with either India or China, not automatically America, because I think the advances that they're making in those parts of the world, I think, will be quite surprising. And I also like what was said earlier on, that if we were only focused, instead of on military aspects, on ensuring that we were fit for purpose for the future as far as travel interplanetary, and whether it is, as you say, telecommunications, teleporting, whether it is some form of transmitting just by thinking. They say that as far as the brain is concerned, most people only use 10% of it. I know people who use way less than that. But what is the other 90% of our brain capable of doing that we haven't yet learned to do? I mean, that's a great. I think there are three things that we've yet to properly explore. One is the depths of the seas. One is space, and the third one is the human mind. We are only at the very, very beginning of all three, if you think about it, as to where we're going to be in 100, 200, and 1,000 years' time. And that's what we've got to start focusing on, is to be able to see where we need to be going and start focusing on it way better than we're currently doing. And I think it's just going to be incredible. I also love the aspect, right? Artificial intelligence, the using ChatGPT and some of the other tools. The fact that I'm able to talk to ChatGPT and have a conversation with them, and I can do it in French, and therefore I suspect lots of other languages, that the kids that are being born now or at kindergarten, this is going to be the norm for them. Absolutely the norm. John, I didn't have a shared line when I was growing up, but a friend of mine did. And he said that people used to listen to the clicks to see if somebody else was on the line. That's where we were in the 1960s in Britain. I had to book an international call when I wanted to phone somebody abroad. I couldn't direct dial. Now, look what we're doing now. And so that is, 60 years on since those days when, 50 years on, from the days when we had to go to an operator to place a call to Belize. I famously remember I had to make a call to Belize when I was 20, and I had to book the call. And goodness knows how much it cost me. So I just think the advances are there. We've got to just be imaginative. As John said, if you're able to dream it, then you're able to do it. That's all we got to do, is join the two things together.
We've got one more person before you go. I know we've gone a bit over time, but this is fascinating. Jason Berry, good to see you, Jason. Is it the question that you put in or comment you put in the chat? It says, it's coming sooner than you think, further, and I'm very well aware that Jason said very well aware that Asgardia needs technology of our own in order to be noticed from scientific society. But Jason, over to you. Hi. Okay, can't hear you.
I think Jason just wrote something.
Okay, let's have a look. I'll have a read. Here we are. Let me read it out.
He wrote in the chat.
Yeah, I'll read it out. Thanks, Jason. Oh, do you want to read it? Okay, right. Okay. Do you think that we need to build our own technology that will get us noticed with small scale of the technology, and how feasible would it be to how feasible would be impacted towards serious attention from the scientific community in order to grow partnership in space technology development from hardware and software aspects, in order to grow financially and take the scientific development in the long term for Asgardia to get noticed and Asgardia Space Nation to be part of the community. That's probably to you, Nigel.
Yeah, I think we need to partner with incredibly clever people, universities all over the world, in ensuring that that the ambitions that we have for them are consistent with where we think we need to go. So if you're a university in India, you've got some of the brightest people in the world working there, then I think there was a time when universities were standalone and they were just academic things. Now there's way more partnerships taking place between industry and universities, using the brightest and cleverest people that there are to make the advances that we need. And I think I think at the beginning, Jason, us just utilizing the technology that is being brought forward will be a start. It's amazing how much technology is already there that people don't know how to use it. I suspect, I talked about my brain and only being able to use 10% of it. My mobile phone that I'm looking at now, none of us read the instruction booklets anymore, do we? And I suspect there's a ton of things that I can do on this phone that I'm not privy to because I simply don't know what it is capable of doing. And it's the same with artificial intelligence. I asked somebody the other day, I said, do you use artificial intelligence to help you to construct the things that you need to do in your business life? Or do you just ask it, how do you get from Victoria Station to Green Park in the quickest time? Or what time does the supermarket close tonight? Which is roughly where I am. And he's brilliant. He just said, no, I absolutely use it to build sites, websites. He knows a bit of coding anyway, which helps him refine things. But he uses it in a way more technical sense. And so he is absolutely using the technology there to make the advances that we will be needing. So I would say, Jason, from a stop-start, us trying to develop our own technology, no. But us using the technology that is being developed at a rapid pace now around the world, getting to know what's available and getting to use it and to see what the applications for that technology will be for us. And I think that is the most exciting thing now. Going back to John's initial point about where we were on shared lines, and to think of the advances that we've made in just 50 years on telecommunications is absolutely staggering. And I just think, somebody's been driving all of that, whether it is the telecoms companies themselves or whether it is universities being able to say, this is what you can do. I just simply don't know. But anyway, listen, sorry, I've got to go.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. Great to see you. That was Nigel Evans, the Foreign Minister of Asgardia. Fantastic that he joined us. So it looks to me that we're going to have a good relationship there between Ferda and Nigel. He's very generous with his phone number, but it means everybody has it now. Let me go to Ferda next, and then we'll continue this dialogue. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. For the AI, I absolutely agree with him, and there is something we are missing. We need to guide the AI. There is a prompt writing about it. When you like to have something from AI, you need to describe what you need. And you need to specific about it. You need to be specific about it. If you don't know about the details or the things that you need, you cannot give orders to make it right for you. So there is a knowledge behind your brain to work with AI. It's not a simple thing. Only writing a presentation will not solve your problem. So we need to guide the AI. For the technology, for the Galactic Prime Directive or other things, it will be important for us to know what we need. We need to discuss this detailed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I asked AI how fast a huge, massive iceberg was traveling in the Southern Ocean, and it's an iceberg which was hundreds of square kilometers in size, huge, and the AI told me it was traveling at 50 kilometers per hour. It's just wrong. It was something like, it was, in reality, it was about 10 kilometers a day or something like that. So it does make mistakes, rubbish in, rubbish out, as they say. So thank you. Let's go to John next. John.
Yes. The way you said, let's go to, you wouldn't say that.
Say again?
Nothing. I totally agree with Ferda that you have to guide the AI. The action plan that I created, I let AI assist me on that action plan, but I gave it all the stipulations that I was looking for, right? And I just use AI to help grammar, spelling, and sentence structure. And it also gives me suggestions of where I can go and get my resources. And then and also you got to verify what the AI says, because there was an incident just happened last week where somebody didn't verify the AI information, and posted something that was totally erroneous or wrong, and it wasn't that person's fault. It was actually the AI's fault. So because the AI pulled rubbish, like Lambert said, it pulled rubbish because it wasn't given enough information to get that direct, more specific purpose that the AI should have, or information that the AI should have pulled for the document. So, and that's what I do. I always make sure the analysis and everything that I do is my own work, and then I let the AI broaden my work, but not actually do the work for me. And in fact, one of our laws, the specifically says that anything that's done in AI that isn't done that way, where then it can't be considered original work. That was in our one of the laws that was passed by Equity and Resources. So, but I agree, AI is very important, and AI will carry us on. And I use AI all the time. I actually pay for the service to use a much higher level AI than what you can get off the internet. But um, um, but I still don't let the AI do the work for me. I give it the specifics, and then I let it broaden that and give me the suggestions and whatnot. And then I verify everything that the AI says, so that I know that what I'm presenting to everybody is actually accurate information. Because every AI program has that little disclaimer that says this information could be wrong. And that's what we got to remember that. And the reason it puts that on there is because it could be wrong. But it's pulling from a really large source of information, basically the internet, and some of the information it pulls from could actually be inaccurate information. So you have to really verify everything that comes from AI. Now, I suspect that that'll get better and better over time, where it gets more and more reliable. But because we're just now starting with AI right now. We're at the infancy of it. And so I do suspect it'll get better over time. But anyway, I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I don't use AI properly. I am still a bit unsure about it. I know it's very useful. It's just I haven't got into the mindset of how to use it, if I'm honest. That's the issue I have. but I can see the importance of it. There's no doubt it's a really big deal. And I would say that once I get used to it, it'll help me a lot. I do a lot of broadcasting, and I use a system which clearly contains AI. It obviously contains AI because it works things out, and it's amazing when it does it. It's just amazing. I would say that the broadcasting software system I use is the same as three people. It's probably as smart as three people. And so, or it adds three people's worth of effort. So 20 years ago, I would have needed three people to do what this one program does. It's a complicated, big program. It's taken me 300 hours to learn how to use some of it. But I know that there are things that it does that it just works out. It knows what I want to do and it does it. Now, it could be that others, such as, let's say, extraterrestrials, have come to the same conclusion. Maybe they've approached their world in a completely different way, but I would guess that they would need to have used computers or be as smart as computers, supercomputers, to make interstellar journeys if they physically are going to do that. Could be. So for us to understand the possibilities means that others could also understand the possibilities, and that's the interesting thing. Right, okay, Ferda, you're next. Oh, by the way, and Ricky is agreeing with you, Jason. Thinks you're absolutely right. Back to you, Ferda.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, the first thing I can say that yes, you are using in a good way, but not in a heavy way. Heavy users are using it for mathematical calculations, coding, making video montage and commercials, and lots of other things. And they are saving a lot of time and energy. And they are separating that time and energy for new projects, more imaginative ones. And it is important for us to save time with this limited sources. It will help us a lot. Correcting mails and correcting the things you found in the research, okay, that's something. But it has more function that we can think about. So we are digging into it. We can find the right way to use it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well. Interesting, and I'm grateful. This is a very good, very interesting conversation. Let me just pause for a minute to summarize what I think we've talked about. We've talked about the fact that there needs to be a working group, and I'm going to move us on to, unless somebody raises their hands to talk about the big picture, I'd want to talk about the working group. We've talked about the need for Ferda and Nigel to align, and Nigel immediately agreed. That's really good. I have no problem with that. I think that's really exciting. And I think you'll enjoy that interaction. It's exciting. We've also discussed the benefit of thinking widely about what things might we have in common with other species. I've added that, and Nigel said the same thing. I've added that it doesn't seem to make any sense to plan for war, because one side will win and the other side will lose, just on the basis of different technology. Think about it this way. If we have had an industrial society for, let's say, 200 years, something like that, and we meet a civilization which has an industrial society for 20,000 years, we're going to lose. If they want to incinerate us, they will have bombs that make our biggest hydrogen bombs seem like a toy. So I don't see any point in planning for any kind of a war, because it would be totally infinitesimally unlikely that it would be a fair fight. So I don't worry about it. There's no real prospect of an interstellar war lasting more than a few minutes, probably, because the other side will just know exactly what to do to win. Now, I find that positive, because they will have worked out the same thing. Whoever it is, they will have worked out the same thing. Then the other side of it is that when we go into the working group idea, I think that these are the kind of fascinating conversations we need to have. And I want to talk about that in a moment. I'll come to Daniel first, but in the second part of our dialogue on this, and this is the main item today. And by the way, I'm really sure this is the right thing to do. It's so interesting, and this is what we're in Asgardia to do. We talk a lot about process, but this is really exciting because it's content. But when we start talking about the process of making the working group together, the question I want to answer is how do we become the center of attention across the world to answer the questions that we're asking? Let's go to Daniel next, and then I wanted to go into the working group discussion. Daniel, hi. Oh, can't hear you. You're not on mute, but we can't hear you. Do you want to try and mute and unmute or something?
Hello, everyone.
I can hear you now. Yeah.
I just wanted to going through. I was able to review some of the documentation.
It's very bad signal. You're coming in and out there, Daniel. Can you try again?
That was shared.
It's very bad signal. Just start that again because I couldn't really hear it.
Between everyone.
Going in and out a bit.
I'd like to commend John for his documentation.
Oh, okay. Hello. Okay, Daniel, we can't hear anything at the minute. Oh, you've gone on to mute. I think that to interrupt me if I'm getting it wrong. Okay, he's going to send a message. Yeah. No, don't worry about the service. It happens sometimes, Daniel. I heard that Daniel was reviewing the documentation, was impressed with what's come out, particularly with John. So very pleased to agree with you. I think it's absolutely right to take that kind of view. A lot of work's been done, and actually what Daniel makes me think is, and what Nigel makes me think is, how comparatively unintelligent we might be compared to some extraterrestrial species. The way I look at it is, if they physically come to us, they're smarter than we are, because the furthest human beings have ever gone is the moon. Probably in the next 10 years, we'll get to Mars, but we're still in our own backyard. For extraterrestrials to come and visit us, they're going to have to travel at least 4 light years, unless they live on some wandering rogue planet which goes from place to place. But I would say that they'll be traveling, they'll have mastered interstellar travel, and that's not easy. So I think that what we're doing is trying to figure out what we say to people who can do that, or to beings who can do that. John, to you, and then we're going to go into the next part of the process, which is working out how we proceed. John?
I was going to say that that's not entirely true. Humans, through technology, has gone outside of our solar system and beyond, of course, the Voyager missions. And they're still transmitting and they're still giving us data. So through technology, we have gone way outside our solar system. But of course, human being is only going as far as the moon. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But what I'm thinking about in terms of first contact, well, it could be robotic, yeah. That would make a lot of sense, because it's quite likely that the noise we've made, which now only goes about 100 light years from where we are, doesn't cover very much of a galaxy which is 100,000 light years across. Maybe somebody in that 100 light year dome, well, sphere, has actually noticed it. It'll still take we'll only know if somebody in 50 light years from us has responded, because the signal goes out, signal has to come back. Unless they've mastered travel above light speed, warp speed travel, I suppose it's possible as well, if we change things, change our paradigm. But then you mentioned Voyager as well. It's the first human-made thing that's left the solar system, and it's gone. It's still a matter of light hours or days. I'm not sure exactly how far it's gone. How far is Voyager? It is 15 billion miles. It's 6 trillion miles to the nearest star. It's not even one light day away from us yet. That's the closest. That's the furthest thing. It's pretty big an impressive thing that it has happened. I think it was launched in 1977, and beyond that, if somebody's going to come to us, they have to have managed to travel light years in something big. Well, they might be very small, of course. Maybe they miniaturize themselves. That's not a possibility, I suppose. Or they can beam themselves to us through photons, teleportation of some sort. So yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting point that you make. But my position still stands that we haven't really got the realistic prospect of being smarter than people who come to us. Now, if we're around for the next 20,000 years, then we could be going to them. Yeah, but the thing is, we've only been flying, powered heavier than air machines for 122 years. 122 years. If they've been doing it for 20,000 years, they'll be way ahead of us. Let's go. I'm enjoying this, but I'm indulging myself, so I better get back in. I'm also aware of the time. The second part of this, of the two parts of conversation, is what do we actually do? What do we do in terms of owning this around the world? And I'm going to suggest that, and I'll happily be involved, that we see if further can lead on this and talk to Nigel, and see if we can invite others. I've invited the British Interplanetary Society today, for example, but they couldn't make it. Invite others to an initial convention online where we will talk to everybody who's interested about the prospect of creating the Galactic Prime Directive Protocol. That's what I think we need to do. And I think that we could aim to do that in either August or September, but definitely before the Executive Congress, because it's not expensive to set up. And even if we get 5 organizations to join us, that's a huge step forward, and no one's done it before. But let me open this up to colleagues here. I would really like to get moving on this, and so that one thing we can celebrate at the Asgardia Executive Congress is the progress of this convention. I haven't spoken directly with I did speak with Dr. Asher Bailey about this in Dubai when I saw him, but we didn't have a precise detail of exactly how we were going to run it at the time. So what are your views on this?
May I?
Hello?
I am speaking, but are you hearing me?
We can hear you.
Okay. I raised my hand directly from Real.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, John has a lot of working done here. He has a representation, maybe he likes to do it. I think he will be the responsible of Galactic Prime Directive working group, and we are very okay with it because he put a lot of effort in it. After then, of course, as a Foreign Affairs Committee chair, I will be doing other projects for the committee. So I will be busy with a lot of things. Of course, I will be responsible with the procedure and everything working with John, but I like to hear his point of view. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. So, I think, yeah, I mean, it seems to me that you ought to lead this. You ought to lead this. That seems clear. And work with Nigel to see what we can do about that, basically. John, sorry, I was thinking about what you were saying, John.
Yeah, well, I mean, I work in the Foreign Affairs Committee too, and I'm part of their committee. So, yes, and the advisory board, the uh, the action plan that came up does exactly what you just said that you think we should do.
Yeah,
and that was already established in the action plan. And I even have a list of agencies that we can start with. One of the ones that I'm going to try to reach out to, of course, is the Planetary Society, seeing if they can come on board. But now I will say this: that that this action plan is a working plan. In other words, it's not something that's static and set in stone. I need other people's opinions. If there's something in there they think that we can improve on or do better. And Lambert, you're also on the advisory board, and your input is equally. If you see something that we can improve on, but I do think that just saying that we're going to do something is great, but having it on paper is better, because that's part of planning. Because people tend to forget and get distracted. And as long as you've got a plan, something on paper, it helps bring back and remind you, okay, and keep you on track. So it's just like whenever whenever I'm working on a big project, I write everything down in a notebook and I keep notes. And because there's no way in the world I can sit there and remember all that information. And so that way I can refer back to my notes and see, okay, oh look, I got to do this, this, and this. And that's just planning for success. And because humans tend to get amnesia over a very short period of time, and you know, and that's just the way we are. We're so distracted with the world and everything that's going on in it that it's good to have stuff on paper to keep you going. So the plan itself is a working plan. In other words, everybody gets to put input on it. Carol sent some input earlier that I haven't answered yet, but or I haven't integrated into it yet. But so yeah. So and anybody on the advisory board, if you got suggestions, send those suggestions, and we'll upgrade the plan. Some of the wording in the plan is already Berta has already addressed as needs to be changed, which I'll be changing, and because it's misleading. And as far as how it was introduced, and she was absolutely right about that. And so, but I think that we should have something that we can focus on, and that's why I came up with of course, the action plan to keep us focused, to keep us on track. And um, uh, yeah, and so I agree with you. I think we should do something before at least have, but I don't think that we need to focus on the entirety of the things that I suggested. If for what you're talking about, Lambert, it's going to have to be one specific organ type of group, and
Yeah.
I would say the space societies would be that group that we focus on first, because we're going to need to reach out to several groups eventually. We're going to have to reach out to space law experts. We're going to have to reach out to technology experts. We're going to have to reach out, science. And matter of fact, we don't have anybody from science on the group. I really would like somebody like Luca to volunteer to be on the group for science, because we definitely need a science represent to someone representing science. But yeah, so yeah. Anyway, and I asked each person to say what part of the plan that they plan on working on, and several have responded. Like for instance, now I went ahead and I went ahead and assigned you, Lambert.
Okay.
because because I know a lot of your strengths, so you already got diplomacy, you already got media. So some of those things you are really good at, and I said, well, I know I can put him on those, and he will more and help be willing to help us out in those areas. So yeah, but yeah, anyway, that's just what I say.
Yeah, well, John, you can push me around. I always say this. You have to push me around because sometimes I need to kick to get. I do things very well when I do them, but as Ferda will tell you, sometimes I need to be told off, and then I'll do them. I know my limitations. I'm very excited by this. I'm really excited by this, and I will send a message to head of nation. He knows we're having this Asgardia legislative forum today, and he, well, he's a man of action himself, so he'll respect what you've just been saying. Don't go further because I'm maybe getting myself too involved because I'm so excited. Daniel says, I believe purpose is the most important aspect of this directive. I totally agree. And yeah, basically, yes, I should explain. Sarah's in the middle of nowhere at the moment with her family, so it's great that she's been able to join us at all, Sarah Clark. And I finally got around to calling her, but she wasn't very available. So it might take a little bit longer for Sarah to get back this week. She has a lovely family and she'll be having a great time. It's good of her to spend time with us at all. And yes, I think Sarah may have had to go to. Yeah, no, she's here, but it's in and out a bit. Let's go to Ferda next. Ferda.
Yes, forgot to mention about Carl Sampson, our Deputy Chair of Foreign Affairs Committee. He is busy a lot with the social media and foreign affairs other works, and I thank him a lot because he also worked with John and me with the Galactic Prime Directive Act, but we are also working on other projects. So on this Monday at 8 p.m. GMT, we will be working for the Foreign Affairs Committee and we will be having a meeting. So anyone else likes to come and watch us or brainstorm with us are welcome to come to the meeting. And they will mail me and I will forward them the meeting link. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. What time did you say? Let me check my diary. What time did you say?
8 p.m. for Turkish time. That means I think 3 hours before.
So what time is it there now?
Right now it's 5:39.
Okay, so it's 3 hours ahead of UTC. Yeah.
Yes.
And what day was it? Let me put it in.
Monday, this Monday, every first Monday of the month.
Okay, let me put it in and check I can do this.
Thank you.
Monday the 7th, okay.
Mm.
And that is 8 p.m. So 2 hours here. working group. Well, this is great because we can actually go into more detail there.
Thank you.
Oh, that's really good. John?
Yeah, I was going to suggest, actually, I was going to write further after this, suggesting that everybody that's already volunteered to be on the advisory board, that they also be added to the foreign affairs committee list. Because they're very important to what we're doing.
Yeah, I know. You can forward that to Linda and she can help to us, maybe.
Yeah.
Could you do that, John?
Yeah.
Everyone's welcome here. Everyone's welcome. So, okay. This is great. So let me summarize then. I think that we've got to a natural point here on this item and we can move on. What I think we've got here is a game plan. And the center of that game plan is these meetings on the Mondays, every first Monday of the month. I think that we have a plan, an opportunity here to have some great news for Dr. Asher Bailey in October. And I think we've got something that we can really push forward. One possibility would be that we have a convention, and as I say, quite soon, in the next 3 weeks or so, to get a working group going, reaching out beyond Asgardia, but which Asgardia can lead, just because we are ahead of the game in terms of thinking about this, at least as far as I'm aware. And I would say the process is as follows. Federer will lead it. It looks like Nigel Evans, the foreign minister, is likely to help as well. And we reach out. The whole goal of our presentations to the head of nation, including mine, on the 29th of October in Dubai, will be to share what we have done, to share the things we have done. I would imagine that this could really put us on the map and get a lot of people to join Asgardia. Because we do, as Teresa said earlier, we do need to get more people to join Asgardia as residents. If we got 10,000, that would be €1 million. We can really do business with that. And remember, our salaries are in proportion to the amount of residence fees that we get. So there's a very good reason for us to do that. Is there anything, so we know the next step will be on Monday and we can go into more detail on this. Is there anything else that we haven't tied everything up today? We haven't finished everything off today. But would anyone like to say anything else on this before we go to the next item? I'm just getting the agenda up on my other screen.
I written it to the chat, but as we talked before, John has the responsibility about the Galactic Prime Directive, and he's working a lot. Of course, I will be leading and I will be helping for the decisions, but I'm very happy with John Fine's work, so I don't think that I will interrupt a lot. We will be running each other's ideas, and last decision will be all of ours vote.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we know what we're doing, so let's stop there. There's more we could say, but we have spoken for 1.5 hours or so about this now. It is a good, really good, positive conversation. Thank you. And I'm hoping this means that we will get to the Asgardia Executive Congress with tremendous news and a big lift in number of residents too. I think that's what we need to be aiming for. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to carry on because I think the remaining items will take about 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. So we'll finish at 3:15, probably, I'm guessing. So rather than having a break, let's just carry on. The next item might be very short. Asgardia legislation to be scheduled. What I've put here is if it's more of a request than anything else. Most legislation begins because a colleague sees something we need. I am not very I'm not very keen on us having legislation just for the sake of legislation. I just want legislation we absolutely need. I would like us to be the least regulated country in the world in terms of citizens. I would love us to be just very light touch, as they say, because I believe there's too much emphasis on just putting legislation forward all the time. And that's what happens in the United Kingdom. And I remember thinking lots of legislation that we passed in the UK in Parliament was pointless, actually. So the question is, I'll give this to you as homework and myself. I would like you to come up with anything you think is necessary between now and for this year's legislative program by next Thursday. Q&A next Thursday, please. Why next Thursday? Because that's when we will be meeting as usual. And we have some space for some first reading debates. We could have a maximum of 3 at the next sitting. We finished a lot of third reading debates the last time, so there is a space. I would definitely like to have at least 2, but they have to be meaningful. So the question, I open it up to you, is that what would be the reality when it comes to meaningful legislation that we may need? John.
Yes. Can you hear me? All right. I just wanted to reiterate what I had submitted to you earlier.
Yeah.
But these are backlog first readings that have been submitted to me. One of them is the Space Traffic Management Act. Another one is Space Debris Mitigation and Management Act. And the other one, of course, is the Asgardia National Budget Act. Those were submitted to me for first readings. You can put them on your list of acts that you can choose from. I also think, personally, I think that we still need an Education Act. I don't think it needs to be as big as the one what was her name? I think I know her name. What was her name? The Education Committee Chair.
So you're talking now, or
no, was our chair for education.
Corna
Corona.
Olivia. She produced a whole lot of legislation.
She did release a very impressive piece of legislation. I think I don't know who's running education right now, but if they would send me what she put together, I can shrink it down into a framework law that'll be a lot smaller, because I don't think we need something that huge. We will, yes, eventually need something that huge. I think right now all we need is something like what the Space Activities Act or the ACE Act was, a framework law, just something, just the framework, the pillars, that's going to build on to the rest of it. So, or like the Asgardia, the Tax Act and stuff like that. These were all framework laws. So if they send me, because I don't think I actually have a complete version of what she did. I've got pieces of what she did. If they send me a complete version, I can shrink that down into a framework law and send it back to the chair that's there now and see if that's something they can work with. If they want, I'll do that for them. And the other thing is that I think we need for legislation, maybe, because it is so important in Asgardia, and we really haven't addressed it yet as a parliament, and that is the first baby born in space. We haven't really addressed that in an act in any way. how's that going to be done? I mean, what's Asgardia going to do? There's really no framework to that. We're just saying we plan on having a baby born in space, but there's a lot of things, like you said, Lemon, there's a lot of things to address in there, ethics and whatnot. And I think it would benefit us to have some type of framework law to attach to that. If it's that important to Asgardia, like so many other things, we have attached an act to it, but we haven't attached the act to that at all. So anyway, those are my suggestions.
Well, that's good. What we can do, John, is can I ask you to do this because of the LMRG, and it's such a game changer for me that you do it. Could you perhaps, right, for the corner thing? So let me make a point. Corner produced a huge piece of legislation, which I broke down into 4 parts. Really, I'm sure I've got it somewhere, but it's basically the whole education system. That's what she's created, and it's very good. Now I'm wondering if we could start with that, maybe with the core principles, and that's because that has to be done. That has to be created.
Yes,
And
I can reduce that down to an actual framework law. What Corona wrote is what I call a comprehensive act.
yeah,
It's the full enchilada, and or the full Mexican meal, and really all we need is an enchilada right now. So if I'm using similarities there, but we don't need the full meal, and but the full meal needs to be mentioned, but not it doesn't have to be broken down into all the little uh, 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 processes. All we just have to say, well, one of the best, I think, one of the best framework laws that Asgardia has created, in my opinion, out of all the framework laws that we created, was the Space Activities Act. I love the way they did it because they don't go into a lot of detail, but it still covers everything that there needs to be covered, and it's a very relatively short act. So, um, I'll have to give Luca credit on that because I had no involvement in that at all, and they did a great job. They did a really good job on that one. But it is a good example of how you make a framework law. And, so anyway, but and I can do that. I'll be more than happy to do that for you if you want me to reduce it down, because I know you said that was one of the biggest problems that we had was it was so huge. Was trying to figure out how to make it, but I think I could bring it down to still have everything that's in that Corona is trying to do, but not but just in a framework, just given the framework of what she's trying to do, and not actually given all the other details. Yeah. But,
well, okay. So maybe we can have not today, but maybe later on this week, John, you and I can have a quick session. Maybe on Tuesday, maybe tomorrow, Sunday, late. We could have a quick session talking about the things you've said, and I'd like to put those forward and share them with Parliament as well to see what we can actually structure it so that we know what the legislation will be for the rest of the year. So maybe tomorrow night, John?
yeah, sure. Yeah, and somebody just Teresa, thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that. She just shared the work you did, and I'm adding it to my computer right now. So I hope it don't have a virus in it, Teresa. I'm very angry with you.
The day that Teresa sends out a computer virus is the day that hell freezes over. Um, Okay. Right. Okay. Anybody else further?
Thank you very much. I was talking about the protocols or legislation discussion, and Foreign Affairs Committee has two more to go, the traffic, space traffic collaboration and the space debris. I don't know what we will do about them, so I'm open for discussion. It will be a legislation or a protocol. Let's decide about that too.
Yes. Okay, that's good. Can you put that down in the list, John? Can you put those things that I'm sorry to make you work like a secretary, but
No, those were the ones I mentioned.
yeah, just make sure that they're the same.
Yeah, they are. I actually got them from Verda, so and I just shared them to you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, but then we'll have a chat.
They are standing more than 1 year, so I'm sorry to remind you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on this one? We have time, but I just don't want to waste time if we're going to have these other meetings. Okay, John, let's carry on with this one tomorrow night. And the door's always open if somebody needs to do something. Okay, good. Thank you. Let me just make a note myself. Okay, hang on, hold on a second. Right, thank you. Let's move on to the last major item, Asgardia Executive Congress. Now, this is exciting. And I actually think the Prime Directive is going to be a big deal. And I really want us to do something there. I want to I want to say that success for me will be that we look together as Parliament, working well, moving things forward, and that we are proud. We can make Asgardia proud. The million plus followers we have, and our residents, and our head of nation. And to do that, we need to turn ideas into action, like the convention, like some other work which you're doing. I won't list everything, but every chair, I would hope, could activate their committees to deliver one external thing, one thing which is observed outside Asgardia and is a credit to each committee. We have 12 out of 12 chairs. I sincerely hope that everyone can come, including Teresa. I'll call you out immediately after we finish, Teresa, just to discuss that briefly. After we finish, probably in about 20 minutes. What I'm asking everybody here to do, all the committee chairs, is to come up with an idea that we can then work on up to 29th of October and present as something that we have done, something we have achieved. And if we can do that, then Asgardia will just rocket forwards. It'll just go into orbit because we're so good at what we do. Who else can do what we're doing here? This is just second nature to us now. Like, as Nigel Evans said, and we forget, we're all over the world. And we just act like we're in the same room. And I don't remember anymore who I've met and who I have not met physically, because I get to see you guys like this all the time. There's Sarah sitting in the desert, not looking like she's sitting in the desert. There's Ferda in Istanbul, Aradni down in South America, Teresa in North America. All of you, I won't list everybody, but I mean, Ricky in the far end of the world from where I am. And we just do this. So I want us to do something really important, which is to deliver for Dr. Asher Bailey, but because it's his vision that we are creating into a into a real nation, and it's enjoyable. I'm very privileged to see Dr. Asher Bailey a little bit more often than you do, and it always inspires me. We will have the most remarkable time when we see him. It'll be action orientated. It'll be hard work. Really, I would expect 29th and the 30th to be pretty heavy duty, and then people arrive on the 28th and leave on the 31st. That's what I think is going to happen. So what I'm going to ask everybody, to all the committee chairs, to do is, first of all, please make sure you have your tickets. Please make sure you have your tickets. I keep asking this. Check with me first if you can, just about the pricing. And then secondly, please make sure we have a game plan. Now, in the next 2 weeks, let's be realistic, it'll take me that long. I'd like to have a one-to-one with everybody individually, and then we'll see what we can do for each committee. And it can be creative. It doesn't have to cost money. It can be creative. It can be a tremendous initiative that brings in money. That would be the best thing. I give you one example of something I'm doing. I'm going to start helping to broadcast Dan Profair's programs on the platform which I'm involved in. And he's got great programs, really high quality. I'm going to put them out. And that's one thing I can do to help. But just ask yourself, what is it you can do that makes a difference to Asgardia's progress? And the committee chairs can show leadership here and get the committees motivated too. And the committees will do more if you do that as well. So it's a win-win-win-win. And remember that great moment when you show things that you're doing to head of nation. For many of you, it'll be the first time you meet him, which will be in a room one-to-one with him. And he goes, great. That's just so good. So impressive. I don't want to go further than that today, but I want to say that publicly because for me, the main focus this year now will be the Asgardia Executive Congress, because on that day, that's essentially our report to the head of nation for what we've done across 12 months. Further.
Thank you very much, Geçmayat. Okay, sorry. I and John was talking about the 5-year achievements and the rules about it. And in the Igor Asher Bailey's publication, we reached most of the goals that Foreign Affairs Committee should push. And also, we have our plans. I don't think there is another thing to do for us, only for talking about the Foreign Affairs Committee, but for our friends, the chairs of the committees, will be a good way to look what Igor Asher Bailey wants about the goals you need to work on. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's basically okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I just agree with you. I'm trying to think of a sentence, but what you say speaks for itself, and it's in the record. So, yeah, thank you. Further, it's going to be a busy year for you, Further. But it could be a much better year now because of Nigel. Ariadne?
Thank you very much. Well, I saw Daniel says about the action space to invite them. I don't know. Many people around the world is working on issues like that. The directive is an initiative very, very clever. And I feel inspired because I think we have an invocation or invitation. This is my first thinking in really morning in the early, because I'm making a tale with a magician, and I have a collaborator. His name is Plumbago, and I love this idea because I'm inspired with all of you all the time. I say any personality in the parliament appears in this tale, but it's impossible. It's impossible because you are my inspiration. That's true. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, we have got real professionalism, and we're so good at what we do, and we are the world's first fully functioning digital democracy. There's no doubt about that.
Yes,
So,
that's important. That's
yeah,
important, Chairman Lambert,
yeah,
because the effort of Ferda and John Fine is very interesting.
yeah,
The professionalism appears in this moment, and they are one the best for Asgardia. And who knows? Maybe we are connected with our own minds with people from other places. Mr. Nigel says, well,
yeah.
ChatGPT. Well, I don't know ChatGPT because I don't use it, ChatGPT, but I'm using another tools. And I'm discovered maybe the network that we created with all the thinkings are connected with other universe. The multiverse appears in many places and many tales, and all the magician words around the world, the traditional thinking of the people, the rituals, all that thinking maybe is the evocation to create the path, the bridge with other civilizations. It's possible. Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely agree.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to think how I would put it. I'd put it this way. We just get on with it. We've proved some this. I was very nervous when I began doing this because it was a whole new thing. We invented the protocols for how to do it. But now I look forward to seeing colleagues. I know I can run it. I have very good technical setup now. Everything works well. We're all over the world. And I would be so sad if we couldn't do this to its logical endpoint. We have momentum, and Parliament is really driving ahead.
We are made from star material. Yes.
Yeah.
The same material of the stars are in our body. Why not? Why the connection is impossible? I think it's possible. Yes. I know.
Yeah. Well, it will. It is possible. Yeah, it has to be possible. Someone's going to do it, and it might as well be us.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. Anything else? Anything else on this item in the Asgardia Executive Congress? Excellent. Okay, fine. What I'm looking at is I'm seeing if there's anything in the chat or anything else. Okay, let me just see. I think just checking into the chat. Axiom. I don't know anything about Axiom really, Daniel. Yeah, Further's right. About the education. Sorry, the education material. Sabah team. Yeah, Sarah's right. Sabah team will have a big role. And Carol's got to go, which is fine.
May I?
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Sabahattin Devecioğlu has done the work with Corna in the education committee, and he is now the chair of that committee, so he will take the responsibility. I know that he has the papers, he is working on it, but John Fine will contact him and they will work together. Maybe he done the most of the work, maybe he will help him and save a lot of time to John.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just thinking, basically, I can't think of any other aspect. Just looking through the chat, I finished that now. Sorry, I was a bit distracted by the chat. Okay, I think that basically we know where we are. And Sabah team's got a role. Corner's done great work, and we're on the way. Okay, great. Is there anything else anybody wants to ask about the Asgardia Executive Congress? Therese, I'll call you after we finish. Okay. All right. AOB, any other business? As always, let me go through the agenda. I've had a look at the chat. If you put something in the chat now, I won't see it because I'm not going back to it. You can see it slows me down a bit when I'm looking at it. It makes it look like I'm falling asleep, and I don't want you to think that. John, go ahead, and then I'm going to do a quick summary of the agenda. Go ahead.
Yeah, we really didn't go over the executive.
Pardon?
So we really didn't go over the executive congress, but I did have a few questions. These are really just logistical questions. But when we get to Dubai, are they going to have somebody there holding up a sign saying?
Yeah, you'll be collected.
Okay, good. And then you mentioned to me last time we had an executive congress, we were allotted 30 minutes for a presentation, but you mentioned to me that my presentation was too long at 20 minutes. One minute.
I'll check the length. I don't. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So I'll find out. I'm just making some notes. I'll find out. In some senses, we need to work out what the agenda looks like, but everybody has a chance to make a presentation, and we'll have I think I'll check whether we're just going to do some or all in the open forum, and then everybody will have a chance to see Dr. Asher Bailey. You don't have to, but I think he'd be crazy not to, because we're all going to have a great story to tell.
Okay, and then one thing, this is not on executive congress, but it is on the legislation.
Pardon?
I have one more issue that I wanted to bring up. This is not on executive congress, but it is on first reading legislation. I have those two protocols that were submitted. You told me you were gonna give me a rundown of how those protocols were gonna work. I still haven't got that from you. So
yeah, that's good. Let's go through that tomorrow night. Then when I meet you on the other thing, can you make sure you raise that? I'll probably do it. I'll be calling you after 2000 UTC tomorrow night because I'm on air till then myself. Might even do a show with you, John.
Okay.
Okay, Ariadne.
I have a big expectation with all the videos and photographs from Dubai. Oh, I like it to see it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The thing about Dubai, it's always about 48 Celsius. It almost never rains. It's got lots of sand and it's got a warm ocean, and it's full of tourists. And I remember one time being on an aeroplane flying there, realizing that I was the only person wearing a suit because even the people who work there don't wear suits. But it was good. It's good. Right, okay. I've left space. Let me go through the agenda then. We started with opening opening of the Asgardia Legislative Forum and review agenda. We've done that. We elected Teresa Jones as chair of Citizenship Committee. We had a great conversation about the Asgardia Prime Directive. We've now got a plan which I'll pursue with John. Sorry, and that directive is leading to the meeting on Monday night. I'm talking with John about the legislation scheduling tomorrow night. Also, the two things I haven't delivered for John, which John rightly raised. And I've talked about the Asgardia Executive Congress. So we have covered everything, 2.25 hours. I've underestimated that. Oh, yes. Sarah's saying that we can share. Yeah. Sarah's making a good suggestion, but I'll explain why it's. I'll explain something about my show in a moment. So, okay. Is there anything else that anybody would like to discuss? Okay. Thank you. Just with my own show, my station's called Unprecedented.tv. It's not part of Asgardia because it's political and it deals with things on Earth. I don't present myself as the chair of Parliament on that. All of us have political views. All of us have our own lives. Dr. Asher Bailey runs a political party on Earth, but it's separate to Asgardia. But the best thing to do if you want to see my show, and this is to everyone who's watching all over the world, go to @Lembitopic on X, and then LEMBITOPIK @Lembitopic, and you'll see the shows going out there. We've just launched the station on YouTube as well, but if you want to see it, go there. I don't want to talk more about it now because I don't want to use this as a platform for the station. It is political, but it's not Asgardia. That's the thing. And so on. But it's clean. There isn't any swearing. There's nothing that you wouldn't want children to see. But that's why I don't talk a lot about that, or indeed some of the other things I do, because I want to keep the things separate. It's not a secret. It's just because I'm always telling you not to mix Asgardia with other things, and with terrestrial politics. And I'm simply saying again, we keep the two things separate. You can do what you like, but just don't say that you're talking for Asgardia if you're doing politics or something which is of terrestrial concern. That's it. I'm saying that publicly. It's not a secret. Okay, great. Thank you. So I think we've done everything we needed to do today. I really appreciate your time. We're going to finish there. Good 2.25 hours. Good use of time. Very efficient. Thank you, everybody. We had 39 people here today, I think. So that would be 19. When we get to 19, I'll shut it down. Teresa, I'll give you a quick call right away now. Sarah, you call me when you're free, because you're on holiday. Call me and I'll be able to pick up. But Teresa, I'm going to call you now. And John, tomorrow night, it'll be after 2000 UTC, 2030 or something like that. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rebecca and the team, Aliona and Linda. Really appreciate that. Thank you to Nigel Evans for coming along as well. So can I suggest, therefore, that we close now? Have a great rest of the day. Teresa, I'll call you now. And and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Oho,
Thank you
everyone.
very much. Thank you to everyone.
Congratulations.